Amidst all the drama and everything that's happened in the past couple weeks, I forgot to talk about one of the best units or characters in this game called Genshin Impact, known as Nahida. Now, many of you have summoned for Nahida, whether it be in the past or, of course, in the 4.4 update. And if you have summoned for Nahida, good choice. She's one of the best characters in the game right now, and honestly makes Genshin super easy baby mode. I'm not gonna lie about that. But why is it super easy baby mode? Well, today we're gonna be talking about how you should work on your Nahida, aka build her up from level 1 to level 90, and of course also building her as a casual build at the very least. Now, of course, if you like the content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell to be notified of when the next Genshin Impact video comes out. And don't forget, I am sponsored by the ever wonderful Gamer Subs. Use code Dystra for 10% off. And of course, without any further delay, let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, of course, as you see right here, we have Honey Hunter World popped up, which, by the way, also, not only are we giving a shout out to Honey Hunter World, but let's go ahead and give a big shout out to, obviously, Stray, Michael, or my boy Stray, for providing the mix that's always in the back. If you're a fan of Dokkan Lo-Fi, let me know in the comments down below, or if you're just a fan of Dokkan. Now back to this. Of course, we have Nahida up here. She is a Catalyst Dendro user, and of course, she is also known as Lesser Lord Kusanale. Lesser Lord Kusanale is basically the Archon of Sumeru, and God, does she have some godly powers. Let's go ahead and first dive into what you need to build her up from level 1 to level 90 first. First things first, we have here the Nagitas Emerald Silver, the Fragments, the Chunks, and of course the Gemstones. Remember, rules of 3. You're gonna need 3 of these silvers to make a fragment, 3 of the fragments to make a chunk, and 3 of the chunks to make a gem. You're also going to need 1 of the silvers, 9 of the fragments, 9 of the chunks, and 6 of the gemstones. Which bosses can you farm for these right here? Well, of course, there's the Dendro Chicken, I like to call him. You could fight him, of course. And of course, you also have the Dendro Hypostasis. Those are the 2 that are coming up to my brain right now, but it makes sense that you would want to fight the Dendro Hypostasis because you're going to need these, the Quelled Creepers. Now, the Quelled Creepers are the actual boss mat that drops from the Dendro Hypostasis, and you're going to need 46 of these, which means at a bare minimum, you're going to be fighting this boss 23 times, which seems like a lot. It really does, and it absolutely is, especially if you get the low roll of 2 every time. But you can also get a max of 3, which drastically puts down as many runs as you're going to have to do. But 23 is the maximum, which is going to take you a good long time unless you have that spare resin in the back. Now, of course, you're also going to need these right here, which are the Kapalata Lotuses. You're going to need 168 of these, and they are actually the Sumeru specialty item that you get from roaming Sumeru. So definitely look up interactive maps that have these placed because they'll show the pictures of like weird people pointing at it, you know? But I definitely recommend pulling up an interactive map because this will take a while. I believe right now as it stands, it's around 75 to 80 that you could get in the overworld. So it's going to take you about a week, I'd say, unless you got a friend that'll let you steal them, which I'm pretty sure they will. Now, of course, let's go ahead and dive into the mats that you're going to get from, you know, little mini people enemy type things. So first things first, you're going to need these, the fungal spores. You're going to need 18 of these for ascension, and then of course you're going to need 30 of the luminescent pollens, followed by 36 of the crystalline cyst dust. Now, of course, remember your rules of 3. You're going to need 3 of the spores to make the pollen and 3 of the pollen to make the dust. Now, these drop from the little mushroom slash fungi enemies that are in Sumeru, so make sure to battle them as well. And then, of course, if you're thinking about triple crowning your Nahida, which honestly I don't blame you because she actually benefits from all 3 of the things being crowned, so there's a plus for that. But if you're triple crowning your Nahida, here's what you're going to need first. First things first, you're going to need 9 of these teachings of ingenuity. You're going to need 63 of the guides of ingenuity, and of course 114 of the philosophies of ingenuity. And again, rules of 3 of the teachings make a guide, and 3 of the guides make a philosophy. Now, these domains here that are in Sumeru, you're going to be playing them Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Sundays have every single one up, so be ready for that. Of course, we also got more of the pollens. You're going to need 18 more of the fungal spores, 66 more of the luminescent pollens, and 93 of the crystalline cyst dust, which again, drop from the fungi. You also have these puppet strings here, which you get from the actual boss fight with Raiden Shogun. So there is that. Raiden Shogun's a fun boss fight, and I'm actually going to be doing that as our sample today for a good reason. You'll find out here shortly. But yes, the Shoki no Kami, the prodigal challenge reward, is actually going to be from the Raiden Shogun boss fight, or at least I believe so. Let me double check that, because I feel like a big dum-dum if I say that and it's like, oh, but it's actually the thing you would do. I think it's actually from. Okay, never mind. Yep, I'm dumb. Don't scratch everything you just heard. I was a dum-dum for a second. It is from the Wanderer boss fight in Sumeru. I'm an idiot. Don't mind me. But yeah, so you're gonna need 18 of those. You're gonna be battling the Wanderer at least, you know, once a week for that. So you're gonna have a while to grind those, trust me. And then of course you're gonna need Crowns of Insight, which actually drop consistently from events. So make sure you're doing all your events. So outside of the blunder that was that, yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of a task. It always is a task to build up your characters. But let's go ahead and now talk about Lesser Lord Kusanale herself. I have her pulled up here, and I'm going to give you some tips on what you need to do to build her up. Now, granted, I would have summoned for a weapon if I wasn't in my good conscience not summoning through 4.4 because of my feelings being hurt. But let's go ahead and actually talk about some weapon choices. Now, as you can see, I have the Lost Prayer of Sacred Wind, which I think somebody has been playing on my account and putting that on her, which is not what I wanted from her. What you actually want is either her weapon, the 1,000 Floating Dreams. You could go for Kagura's Verity as well, which is a great choice, gaining, you know, that extra crit damage, which she will need a little bit of. But for me personally, I went with Sacrificial Fragments initially because of the fact that Sacrificial Fragments gives that extra elemental mastery. Now, as you can see, my elemental mastery is shot above 1,000, and that's going to be one of the things you're going to want to pay attention to with Nahida. Look at her. She's just so adorable. Look at her. So cute. All right. But other weapons that you could use actually are the Widsith. The Widsith's actually a very, very good choice. You could also use, where is it? I know I have it here somewhere. What does it look like again? Oh yeah, the Wandering Even Star is actually another one that you can use because of the elemental mastery. And of course, the following effect will trigger every 10 seconds. The equipment character will gain 30% of their elemental mastery as bonus attack. So that's pretty good if you're running more of a DPS style Nahida, which is not a bad thing to do in the slightest. You could run her however way you want it, as a sub DPS, as just Dendro support. Well, not Dendro support, but Dendro like affliction, I guess is the best way I could put it, to basically put Dendro on the enemy so that you could get your stuff going, right? Or you could do even a 3-star magic guide, which is weird. I think I have, oh, I thought I had magic guide here, but yeah, magic guide is actually on there as well because of the amount of EM that it could give. It's not as much as, you know, obviously the sacrificial fragments here, but sacrificial fragments is probably the best of the 4 stars. Alongside Widsith, I'd say Widsith is really, really good as well. Now, of course, if you're looking at artifacts, I went with a 4-piece Gilded Dream. Now, people will argue between 2 sets, right? 4-piece Gilded Dream or 4-piece Deepwood Memories. And the reason being is that Gilded Dreams will actually give you a 80 points of elemental mastery on the 2-piece, followed by the 4-piece. Within 8 seconds of triggering an elemental reaction, the equipping character, the character equipping this will obtain buffs based on the elemental type of the other party member's attack is increased by 14%, and each party member whose elemental type is the same as the equipping character, and elemental mastery is increased by 50 for every party member with a different elemental type. So for me, for the team that I'm going to be using, I have 3 different 3 different elemental types, so I'm gaining 150 extra elemental mastery on top of that. So that's good. You could also run a 4-piece of Deepwood Memories. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the 4-piece does here. 15% Dendro damage bonus, and then of course the 4-piece, after elemental skills or burst hit opponents, the target's Dendro resistance will be decreased by 30% 30% for 8 seconds. So what's really good about it is that with Nahida being a sub DPS, yes, you're increasing your Dendro damage, which she's going to be damaging anyway, but the fact that when you use an elemental skill, which is going to be a lot with Nahida, you're actually going to be reducing the Dendro resistance by 30%. And that's fantastic because, again, you're going to be using Nahida a lot, especially with reactions. So I would definitely say pick and choose what you think might be the best option. It just depends on what you view as the most important. Now with Nahida, your main focuses for artifacts should be EM being the #1 because of what she's going to be doing with your reactions. That's the biggest takeaway. Reaction, reaction, reaction. Not only that, but you actually do want to increase your crit rate, crit damage. See, for me, I went with the minimum 40 with at least 118 in crit damage. Now I could switch, you know, let's switch Widsith really quick to kind of show off what I can do here. That increases my crit damage, but I also take a decent hit going down to 800, which is not a bad idea. I think right now the drop off is at 900. So I'm going to go ahead and keep sacrificial fragments on, but I could be wrong on that. I do need to get a little bit better when it comes to knowing kind of like when it starts to drop off on stuff. But yeah, so your main focuses are EM, crit rate, crit damage, and also ER. Now, for your main stats for your last 3, you should be rocking Elemental Mastery, or in this case, Elemental Mastery on this one. You could run Elemental Mastery or Dendro damage bonus as a goblet, and then Elemental Mastery, or you could do crit rate or crit damage depending on what you need. Now, of course, again, I'm running the 4-piece Gilded Dreams. I would say your best bet is to run 1,000 Floating Dreams alongside a 4-piece of Gilded Dreams or Deepwood Memories. So, and of course, I'm rocking her at Constellation 2 because Constellation 2 is her best constellation in general. Opponents that are marked by Seeds of Skandha, applied by Nahida herself will be afflicted with the following buffs. Burning, Bloom, Hyper Bloom, or Bergeron reaction damage they receive can score crit hits. Crit rate and crit damage are fixed at 20% and 100% respectively. And within 8 seconds of being afflicted by Quicken, Aggravate, and Spread, defense is decreased by 30%, which is pretty dang good. And of course, really quick, I'm going to do this really quick to put up her talent right there. But here is where Nahida's bread and butter is. Her kit is just insane. So let's talk about the all schemes to know. Sends forth karmic bonds of wood and tree from her sides, dealing AoE Dendro damage and marking up to 8 opponents hit with the Seed of Skandha. When held, the skill will trigger differently. When you hold it, enters aiming mode, which will allow you to select a limited number of opponents within a limited area. During this time, Nahida's resistance to interruption will be increased, and when released, the skill deals Dendro damage to these opponents and marks them with the Seed of Skandha. Aiming mode will last up to 5 seconds and can select up to a maximum of 8 people. Or opponents. The Seed of Skandha, opponents who have been marked by the Seed of Skandha will be linked to one another up till a certain distance. After you trigger an elemental reaction on opponents who are affected by the Seeds of Skandha, or when they take damage from Dendro cores, including Bergeron or Hyper Bloom damage, Nahida will unleash a Tri-Karma Purification on the opponents of all connected opponents, dealing Dendro damage based on her attack and elemental mastery, which attack percentage does take a precedence as well. You want to make sure you have a decent amount of attack percentage, but it's also not the biggest thing because if you have enough elemental mastery, you'll do fine. But of course we go into her burst, which her burst is actually pretty dope too. Manifests the Courts of Dreams and expands the Shrine of Maya. When the Shrine of Maya field is unleashed, the following effects will be separately unleashed based on the elemental type present within the party. Pyro, when Nahida remains with the Shrine of Maya, what the heck was that? Maha? The damage dealt by Tri-Karma Purification from all schemes to know is increased. Electro, when Nahida remains within the Shrine of Maya, the interval between each Tri-Karma Purification from all schemes to know is decreased, and Hydro, the Shrine of Maya's duration is increased. If there are at least 2 party members of the aforementioned elemental types present when the field is deployed, the aforementioned effects will be increased further. So if you really want to just like go all out with the full ability, you would need Nahida, Pyro, Hydro, Electro, but you don't entirely need to have everything going on at once to make it worth your while. Let's go ahead and talk about the first Ascension passive here. When unleashing Illusionary Heart, the Shrine of Maya will gain the following effects. The elemental mastery of the active character within the field will be increased by 25% of the elemental mastery of the party member with the highest elemental mastery. You can gain a maximum of 250 elemental mastery in this manner. And I did it again. Followed by the second Ascension passive, each point of Nahida's elemental mastery beyond 200 will grant 0.1 bonus damage and 0.03 crit rate to Tri-Karma Purification from all schemes to know. A maximum of 80% bonus damage and 24% crit rate can be granted to Tri-Karma Purification in this manner. And that is why you want to make sure that you boost up Nahida's elemental mastery as high as you can, but also limit it. I can't remember exactly the limit of this in regards to how much elemental mastery, but it's a lot. Let me see. I can pull up my calculator really quick. We're gonna do some quick calculations. Let me pull it out. Not like that, chat. So I think it's gonna be 24 times 0.01. So no, I'm dumb. I don't know how to math well. I'm sorry. I can't remember, but I do know it's around the 900 range, I believe. But let me know in the comments if I got that wrong. So I'm perfectly fine with being called out. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the party that I have. So for this party in general, this has been out for a while. I just switched Xingqiu with Fiorina because I want to see how Fiorina really works with Nahida. I haven't really played around with this combo of Archons before, but we do have Alhaitham because Alhaitham here is actually a pretty decent character as a DPS. Now, you see that he's at 500 elemental mastery, but his attack percentage is terrible. I do apologize, don't flame me. But I went with the Black Sword to give him the crit rate, and then Artifacts of Gilded Dreams to give him some more elemental mastery on top of that. But he is a decent DPS, and then Kuki Shinobu is just the best Electro Applicator right now. Like, she's just that dang good. And we're gonna go in and we're gonna fight Raiden Shogun because I still need to do a boss fight for this week to get the last of my battle pass stuff. I'm still trying to farm the battle pass. So let's go ahead, let's get this going.
Here you are.
Now we're as we're getting that Hyper Bloom, and even on this part, it's just doing so well. I don't know what I was swinging at right there. I'm gonna activate that to kind of just be okay. We're gonna activate the Shrine of Maya. Applicate that. And then activate the arena stuff just to continue getting that. Oh, you would split apart like a dummy. Stop it! Just let me hit you. There we go. We might actually beat her before she goes into her other form. I would hope. Please, please. No, we won't be able to do it outright. We're gonna get close though.
Here you are.
But there's a reason why, like, you really want to go for a team like this because it's just too dang good, in my opinion. Because we can literally just keep this going the entire time. Aw, dang you. We'll be fine. Look at that, perfect. Ah, go ahead and do your worst, Raiden. Not good. We're gonna keep on using that. Now, I also kind of want to show off her aiming mode because her aiming mode is absolutely adorable. See, look at that. She's like, I'm taking a picture. Boom. Perfect.
Here you are.
Where'd you go?
Is in my hand.
Oh god, I forgot about this. I hate this one. Side of a biscuit eater. I mean, I don't really hate it. It's not that hard. But yeah, like, we're holding our own. I probably could have ended this a lot earlier if I would have timed everything just right. Got that. Take the picture. Now, see, again, it just goes to show how good Nahida is with, like, characters of Hydro and Electro because she just works so well. And giving that elemental mastery helps with that reactionary damage. So, very happy with how Nahida overall turned out. I love rocking Nahida in general. Now, as I talked about before, when it comes to her talents, because I did forget to touch up on this a little bit, as you can see, I have it spread 777. But if you want to mainly focus on one or two, your main focus should be leveling up this talent, All Schemes to Know, because of the fact that you're going to be applying that Dendro across the board, followed by her burst being the Illusionary Heart. Overall, Nahida is a absolute awesome character to have on your account. It's just easy baby mode. It literally makes everything easy, and I've talked about it in a previous video before with Withering Waves. Like, I don't need to worry about doing a lot when I have Nahida on my team, being able to do a third of what these other YouTubers slash big players who are doing like millions upon millions of damage. Like, Nahida is that character where you don't need to worry about doing an amazing amount of damage off of one hit. You're more so worried about getting your reaction and just being like, all right, this is gonna be easy, let's just get it through. So overall, Nahida is an amazing character to pull for in Genshin Impact if you are polling. And that's gonna be it. Like, that's really all I have to say about Nahida. I always praise Nahida's character, the story for Nahida, the actual abilities of Nahida, and of course just the overall like look of the character is fantastic. So if you like polling for awesome characters, Nahida is definitely that one. Now, of course, that's going to be it today. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to entertain you. We will be back again with another Genshin Impact video very soon. And of course, thank you so much for giving me that time. I love y'all. Thank you, appreciate it. And of course, we will see you in the next video. Please take care and be safe.